Hello everybody, welcome to Savage Ink Studios. I'm your host Ink, and today's Sketchbook Storytime we are going to be talking about the time that Crow almost drowned. So this story I actually ended up in a cab because I was having like a little bit of a breakdown and needed to go see my mom, and getting a ride wasn't really an option. So I ended up taking a cab with this lady who seemed like a little bit nutty and kept on asking me like weird personal questions. And it came up that like I was scared of driving, which is why I'm taking a cab instead of driving. And she starts getting into her fear of water, and I'm like, oh yeah, me too. And ended up telling her this story. So I figured, if I can spill the beans on this story to some random cab lady, I can spill it to you guys too. So, this story takes place when Crow was like 2, which would have made me like 10, which would have made it like 15 years ago-ish. And we were at a family reunion. Our family, on my mom's side, once a year does a family get-together. They used to be a little more frequent. We used to have one in the summer and one in the winter. Now our family just does one in the winter, although I have not attended in several years. Stories for another time. So this was a summer family get-together, and me being, the mama type that I am, I spent the entire day, chasing after my little siblings to try and make sure that they weren't getting into trouble. So, in the afternoon-ish, my mom says she's going to the store to get some beer. She was gone for 3 hours, but that's not the point. So, she asks my aunt, hey, will you watch Crow while I'm gone? Since he's 2. And my aunt's like, yeah, of course. So my mom leaves, and after 2 hours of me chasing this kid around, wondering how the hell he has so much energy, I picked him up and I brought him over to my aunt, and I'm like, hey, can you, keep an eye on him for a little while, because I'm exhausted. And she waves me off and literally says, no, you're fine. And I kind of tried to be like, not fine. I definitely need a break, and he won't slow down. Will you please just, hold on to him for a minute? And she's like, no, you're doing a great job. You're fine. And turns around to keep talking with the other adults. So, I'm frustrated and a little annoyed and really tired. And this kid just isn't stopping. I mean, Crow had an uncontrollable amount of energy as a child. He could just go and 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 go, and didn't even need a nap. I can tell you that by 2 hours into following him around exclusively, I needed a nap. But that wasn't going to happen because my mom was still grabbing beer. So I walked him over to the side of a pond, whole bunch of frogs in there, jumping around, whatever, and just sit him down on the grass, thinking, he likes frogs, maybe he'll watch the frogs, and sit down and stop moving for a minute. So we're sitting there, looking out over the pond, totally still, calm, quiet, great. When all of a sudden, he jumps up, points, yells froggy, and jumps headfirst in. Now, listening to this story, my first reaction probably would be, well, why didn't you stop him? Why weren't you watching? No. I was sitting close enough to be able to actually have both of my hands on him at the same time, and was watching, but this happened so fast, there was no time to grab him. It was like one fluid motion. Up, point, froggy, in. And that was, and then he was gone. And the smart thing probably would have been to call for an adult. But my brain wasn't thinking, what's the smart thing to do? My brain was thinking, my brother's in trouble, I gotta get him. So I dive headfirst into this pond, with my eyes wide open, and the water's all muddy. I can't see a damn thing. And I'm swimming down with my arms flailing, just trying to find him to grab onto. And I'm down there what felt like forever. I'm sure it was literally only 20 or 30 seconds, but it felt like forever. And I'm flailing, and my hand hits something squishy. And I grab onto it, and I remember thinking in my head, if this isn't my brother, I'm just gonna die. I'm just gonna die. And so I swim up, and I lift up my arm, and there he is, wet and spluttering, and his lips are blue, and he's coughing and wide-eyed, and I'm freaking the fuck out. So I doggy paddle us to the side of this pond and throw him up over the bank, which of course is when all of the adults realize, oh shit, the kids are gone. Better go check that out. And a group of grown-ups come up, and I pull myself up, and I grab onto the baby, and I'm holding him. And for some reason, all of the adults in the situation seemed to think that it would be a good idea to pull the baby away from me. Which wasn't gonna fucking happen, you know? This kid was just underwater and could have died. Which was literally all that I could say for the next hour until my mom got back. He could have died, he could have died, he could have died. I sounded like a psycho, and these grown-ups are trying to pull this kid away from me, and I'm holding on to him so tight that I'm probably gonna make him choke and die anyway, because he can't breathe. Until finally they decide, okay, we're obviously not getting the kid away from her. Let's just, push her along and wrap her in a towel and wait for her mom to get back. So I'm sitting there wrapped in a towel, and keep in mind that he was fine. He was alright. He, breathed in some water, but he was okay. And 10 minutes after I had pulled him out, he was ready to go and play again. Like I said, uncontrollable amount of energy. So he's squirming and wiggling and crying and wanting to get away, and I would not let this kid go. Like, for the next hour, he's screaming and crying and kicking and trying to get up, and I won't let him go. I'm just sitting there on the ground with a towel saying he could have died. Finally, my mom did return with beer and freaks out and tries to ask me what was happening and trying to check on the baby. And I'm just like, he could have died. And I couldn't say anything else. And I don't think that she actually heard from me what happened that same day. I know that, eventually I ended up telling her, and I'm sure that the story my aunt told was not the same thing as what actually happened. Because who's gonna go to some child's mother and say, oh, I wasn't watching your kid, so he almost drowned, even though the other kid who was watching your kid said that they couldn't do it anymore and that they needed help, but I ignored them and your kid could have died. Most people are not dumb enough to do that, at least not when my mom's involved, because as irresponsible as she has been known to be, and as many of her decisions have been questionable, she is undoubtedly protective, and probably would have beat that woman down right then and there. So, that is the story of how Crow almost drowned, and also why I don't go swimming anymore. And haven't, since I was 10, which is a shame, because I was on a little swim team and everything. Like, I genuinely enjoyed swimming up until that point, and now I don't swim anymore, so it's 100 degrees here, and I get to take a shower, and that's about it. You guys know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. Please check out all these awesome artists with all this awesome fan art, because it's awesome. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Questions, comments, suggestions, you know where to put them. Please, if you're feeling generous, feel free to check out my Threadless shop. I've got some really cool designs, including this one that I've been working out on in this video. If you would like to support the channel, that is the best way to do it. If you want to order something, that'd be cool. If not, that's cool. You want to share the crap out of it to everyone you know, that would be awesome. But you don't have to. And I will see you guys in the next one.